Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone between Jason, welcome back. Welcome back to, well, the channel, because this isn't exactly a video I've ever kind of done before. I don't really know what I'm going to be calling this. As of right now, I'm tentatively calling this, like, breaking a card, card break, how to break a card. I don't know. I'm not even sure if this is going to become, like, a series or anything, but it's something that was bouncing around in my head for a while. And while we're kind of like waiting for Worlds to happen before a bunch of things start changing with Yu-Gi-Oh!, I figured this would be a good time to kind of take all these ideas that have been sitting in my head and just let them out. So what exactly do we want to talk about? Well, there are some cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That are just begging to be broken, right? That's the idea behind the way I'm thinking to title the series. There are cards that just want to be broken. And I've got a card here that I've been thinking a lot about. This is the new Sorcerer of the Swamp, a card that's seen a little bit of play here and there. It's got a couple tops in Genesis and a couple tops in TCG, but I feel like there's a lot it can do. So I went ahead and I made this infographic that kind of shows the process I went through when trying to really break this card. Specifically, I am talking about for Genesis format. There's a lot more it can do in the TCG. Is actually kind of unfun, which is why I want to specifically talk Genesis, where I feel like the card could really shine more in a positive light. If you don't know what Sorcerer of the Swamp does, I went ahead and copy pasted its effect text here. If this card is in your hand, you can reveal one fusion monster in your extra deck and banish one material whose name is mentioned on it from your deck. Then special summon this card, and if you do, this card's name can be treated as a banished monster if used as fusion material this turn, and can only use this effect of Sorcerer of the Swamp once per turn. Obviously, this is very similar to King of the Swamp, which this is a sort of retrain of. It's a very similar effect, but where Sorcerer is different is, first of all, it requires you to actually have that material in your deck, where King of the Swamp does not, and Sorcerer of the Swamp summons itself as well. Now, this is kind of where everything changes. Right away, I can think of so many uses for Sorcerer. So let's start with how I kind of started thinking up ideas with Sorcerer, right? I didn't want to just use other people's resources, other people's like theory crafting or anything. I wanted to do this all on my own. So we're going to go ahead and start, and we'll talk about my process. Right away, I thought up 3 specific uses for Sorcerer, and this is where everything's going to start branching out from. First of all, Sorcerer could just be a body. It can just be a guy, summons itself for free, banishes something, and it's just a body on board. That is very boring, so I instantly crossed that out and just didn't think about it. The last thing we need is to just play another deck with level 3s. So we can move over to the left here, and we have some uses for Sorcerer here. It could function, like I said before, as a King of the Swamp, for Dark Magician or Invoked, or cards like it. Like it can become Cyber Dragon, it can become things like that. That's essentially just King of the Swamp. Again, there could be some benefits to getting a specifically named vanilla or something like that into rotation, but that wasn't very interesting. Alistair, though, does have some interesting uses for Sorcerer. This is actually where Sorcerer has seen the most success in both TCG and Genesis, because scroll up. Because banishing an Alistair the Invoker is a combo with the Invocation Sword. If you don't know, if Invocation is engraved and Alistair is banished, Invocation can add the Alistair back to your hand and shuffle itself back. Alistair can then be summoned to search Invocation once again. Sword, on the other hand, can be used fusion summon an invoked fusion monster using that banished Alistair as material. So that leads us to be able to, as I pictured here, we can either get Alistair into rotation, or we can just fusion summon with Alistair and the Sorcerer into Invoked Oceanus. This is a bit of a 2-card combo that is pretty decent. It's much better in TCG where you don't have to worry about points. It's still pretty good for Genesis format. Also, I have a branch here, this favorite contact elemental hero Neos. I was thinking pretty hard about this one. It's kind of nice being able to just banish Neos from deck, which sets up the favorite contact, but I figured there was a little too many anti-synergies with the fact that the hero monsters like favorite hero, those guys, they want to be made with a hero normal. So despite the fact that we can copy Neos's name, it doesn't really benefit us that much. But I do still think it was interesting enough to mention. But there is a third way, which is much more interesting. And this is, you can see here in the center, the Chitoptera and Horned Saurus combo. If you do not know, Chitoptera is specifically mentioned as material on Horned Saurus. So, Sorcerer can reveal Horned Saurus, banish Chitoptera, and when Chitoptera is banished, summons itself back to the board, and as an ignition effect, can search you a copy of Polymerization, which can be used along with Sorcerer in itself to make the Horned Saurus. Ooh. Alright, here we go. So this here is where everything starts to go crazy. So Horned Saurus. If this card is fusion summoned, you can place one field spell from your deck or graveyard face up in your field zone. During your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one dinosaur or dragon monster. The second effect isn't really that relevant for generic use, but the first one is pretty good. Horned Saurus is essentially terraforming, right? Being able to search any field spell in the game. However, Horned Saurus places that card in your field zone, which means, as you can see from our branches here, we have this branch. These are just an example of some cards that do something when activated. Now, because we're placing the card, we can't really use those right. There's a little funny example here, branching from there. This can also be used to circumvent activation requirements for field spells, which is very funny. So if you're using a field spell that needs to like search on activation, Horned Saurus can just get you the field spell for free without needing to search, which could be cool. I mean, imagine you get drolled on like the Polymerization ad. You can still get your field spell into rotation if it does something else. But other example of Seal Orichalcus is very fun. It destroys all your special summon monsters. But if you place with the Horned Saurus, you skip the destruction. I mean, that could be something. You tell me. Then our other branch here actually is floodgates that we can search. These are three of the most common legal floodgates in Genesis. We have Summon Breaker, Necro Valley, Zombie World. Zombie World, of course, is just a pseudo floodgate. You know, if you're queuing up against me, you know you put Zombie World on the board, and I can't summon any of my fucking flu monsters. But Necro Valley and Summon Breaker are really powerful. Just keep in mind though, if you go for Summon Breaker off this combo, you are floodgating yourself first. I've had multiple games where my opponents do this combo, put Summon Breaker on the board, start summoning again, and then they end their turn immediately. Anyway, there's a third class of field spells we can place with Horned Saurus, and that's where I want to move next. Boop, 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 boop. These are just some examples of field spells that do things as ignition effects. From right to left, we have Dragon Ravine, which can add a Dragoonity or send a dragon. Lost World, which a little different than the other ones. This isn't an ignition effect. This is just reactionary to if you summon a dino, which, for example, if you're playing dinos, this would be pretty good. Jirac Volcano is a really interesting thing because this needs to specifically destroy a dinosaur monster. And if you can tell, the Horned Saurus is a dinosaur. That sets you up right away. Fire King Island does something very similar, but it just needs to destroy any monster. And then we have Angelic Problem in Plundered Power Patron Plane Vidolia. These two just need you to have either any banish for Vidolia and any spell trap to discard. The Archmage field spell is also in a similar place, but that one's just a little... I don't think Archmage wants this combo, which is why I didn't include that field spell here. But it could be playable there. So these are some examples, like I said, of field spells that do benefit from this effect. But as you can tell by the little branches there, this is not where any of these stop. So we can go up and we can start seeing where these decks kind of go. So for Ravine, I went ahead and picked some decent targets for it. I did see Dragoonity actually got a top in Genesis. I had no idea. Dragoonity is always one of those decks I really want to check out, and I'm pretty sure nothing in the deck even has any points for Genesis. So maybe after this, I might give that a shot. But it looked really cool. And the Dragoonity deck I saw was actually playing this package. I just had no idea. I'm going to do my research. I'm like, oh my god, someone's already doing it. I was amazed. We also have Blaster. You can just get Dragon Rulers into rotation, which could be decent. And Lightsworn Dragonling. This one, I'm not 100% on. Yeah, that's great. Because you kind of need to have stuff already going for this to actually get you anything. But, you know, a synchro deck getting a free level 6 body and then Dragonling searching you your punishment or judgment. I'm pretty sure it searches both. I've never played Lightsworn, but yeah. Then, of course, we have Soul Eating Oviraptor and Baby Ceresaurus. Classic combo. We got Jirac Stego and then the Fire Kings. Like I mentioned, FKI and Jirac Volcano just need something to destroy, and these are just some of the best searches there. We also, actually, a little bit of an extra connection I forgot to mention. We could also instead search the GMX lab. I'm just considering GMX just being part of Dino, which is why I made it a little connection instead of giving it its own kind of section at the bottom. Honestly, I saw a Dino deck that was playing both GMX and this package, and they weren't even playing the GMX field spell. I mean, it's fine, it searches the spell, but so does a bunch of the monsters. And then from here, actually, we have another branch, the Angeliki branch. So this is really interesting. By doing the Kaito Terra combo, we get a level 6 body and the Angeliki field spell. So as long as we have a spell trap, we can discard it, special summon Enlisted, and then we put Bastion in the back row, which then also plays Shatrenga in the back row. But there is a step further we can go. Because Enlisted is a tuner, now we can make any level 8 synchro, which can be like the new Victim Sanctuary, Stardust Excel Dragon, although I'm pretty sure Enlisted isn't considered to be properly summoned, so we can't bring him back, but that's neither here nor there, because let's just make a Bastion. I have seen some Angeliki Genesis combos that did this to summon Bastion and then used a different effect to put Bastion into the back row to then get them Shatrenga, so they could have Knight, Bastion, and Shatrenga all in the back, which I think that's pretty cool. Now let's go back down for a quick second, because I want to do a little bit of an introduction to Vidolia. Some people may remember Vidolia as being a very annoying card in the current TCG format, because Power Patron with all the pendulum effects and all that stuff is kind of a little overpowered, and it's only going to get better with time. We already know the new wave is going to go Insano style. But there is stuff we can do with it in Genesis. Now, are you going to like that stuff? I don't know. But this branch leads us to what I found to be the highest value use of Sorcerer of the Swamp. We make our Hornsaurus, we get Vidolia, and then we move on to full Elf Note combo. Because if you don't know, Vidolia reveals a Power Patron monster in your extra deck, banishes a card face down from your hand, and they can either add or special summon a Power Patron. So from here is where things go crazy, because we have a level 1 tuner in a level 6 body, meaning we can start making any level 7 synchros. So if we're going second, that means we can make Black Rose. Or we can make AFD, pop the field spell, and then all those field spells I mentioned that we weren't able to use with this combo because they had to be activated, can be activated because AFD adds them to our hand. Not to mention, if we're using a field spell that adds a monster to our hand, AFD also has the effect to just special summon that card. And now this is where we go further beyond, because not only are we getting any level 7 synchro, but when the Elf Note Power Patron is used as synchro material, it searches. So we could also just make the Elf Note Seraphim Strelitzia, and then we can search Fortuna Lucina Artinia to combo even further by making things like Excel Stardust Synchro Dragon, Cheng Ying. We can combo into Vintage Dragon at some point, and this branch here just represents full Elf Note combo. But again, we have one more branch. 20 minutes deep, let's go for our last branch. We also, of course, have Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and the setup for Junora, the Power Patron of Tuning. This is where the branching kind of ended. I decided for now, this is probably the best use of Sorcerer of the Swamp. Being one card combo for Elf Note is kind of crazy. Being able to extend us through all these different things. Oh, my head is hurting just remembering all the lines, all the plays. Yes, doing this combo does introduce some garnets to the deck, but a 0.1 card combo, only requirement is a card to banish face down, and you just get everything for Elf Note. I could not believe it. I could not believe that people weren't already playing this. Like, genuinely, I went ahead and built Elf Note Snake Eye, which is theorized to be probably like the second best deck in Genesis right now, behind the Blitzclick deck, right? And I genuinely could not believe what my hands were letting me do. I'm not really that much of a crazy synchro combo deck player. The best I can do is go 5+2, make L Skeletus, pop L Skeletus, take 2 5s, make them into fucking Cyber Dragon Nova. That's as far as I go with synchro combos. Let me be real. I get a little overwhelmed with some of these synchro piles. Let me tell you that for free. But genuinely, you know, for doing all my research on my own and all the like testing, trying to figure this out on my own, I was happy with where I ended up. I'm not sure if this is the best use for Sorcerer of the Swamp. I'm sure there's something else out there that could be better. And if you do know what is better, please leave that in the comments. Let me know what else there is. Because genuinely, I want what I want. The entire reason I want to make this video, I want there to be a discussion. I want to be able to talk about this with anyone watching the video. You know, my subscribers, or if you're not subscribed, if you aren't subscribed, you should subscribe. But anyone, genuinely, if you have any other uses for Sorcerer of the Swamp, please leave them in the comments below. I would actually love to maybe, if possible, take this graphic I have here, because oh, by the way, this is just yeah, this is just this is Photoshop. We've just been staring at Photoshop. This is literally just me in Photoshop right now. I would love if there are more recommendations for things we could do, adding them to the tree. Like if on any of these branches, right, if there's actually a different direction we could be going, I would genuinely love to over time add more onto this and make it like, I don't know, I guess the progression tree of Sorcerer of the Swamp, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, this was kind of just a me pooping out whatever thoughts were in my head about this. Like I spent so much time making this diagram. Genuinely, I spent more time than I probably should, but I had a blast doing it. And I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Maybe if you weren't aware of what our buddy Sorcerer of the Swamp could do, maybe you are more aware now. So again, I would like to say thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if leave in the comments, is there any uses you know of Sorc? Am I missing something? Did I get something wrong? If you think that it genuinely just is not worth it to do full elf no combo, you can leave that down there too. But besides that, I'll say thank you again for watching this video. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye. Oh, also, if you're in the comments, let me know if you want this to be like a full series where I like do the same thing with other cards. All right. Okay. Goodbye. Oh, one more thing. Actually, hold on. Sorry. I'm definitely ending the video soon. The Imgur link for the current image here will be in the description of this video. All right. Bye.